Hey guys, Knight here, and I'm sure most of you remember when me and Mech and I were looking for a new reality for Glitch tonight, that we went through a lot of dimensions before finding one fit for him, and some of them sounded actually pretty cool. So the other day I decided to go back to some of them and see how they were doing, I guess. I don't know. I thought if I'm gonna explore the warrior net, I bet I might as well go to where I've already tried. So I went to this dimension. I don't remember much about it, but I'll remember that I remember this one story, and I'll tell it to you now. So when I got in, I was in this massive city. I'm talking futuristic, but sort of modern. Massive size skyscrapers. No, laser tech or something. Not a sci-fi city, which kinda sad. I like sci-fi cities. However, when I approached, it took me an hour or so. I just explored the city. They had these really cool food vendors and selling double burgers, but they were a burger next to a burger, and it worked. I don't remember. Anyway, it was delicious. Amazing, most beautiful thing I've ever had. Anyway, as I was having it, a bunch of people started running my direction, and this one idiot ran into me and knocked my double burger on the ground. Buddy, what are you doing? And then I turn around and see this massive, just creature approaching towards me. This massive, toe jammer thing. Except, when I say massive, I mean massive. And then, a helicopter flew by, shot a rocket at it, and it crashed into another building. That's not the most surprising thing, because then it absorbed the building into itself and got bigger. I didn't know what was happening, but I was probably gonna run. So I started running against the wall and gliding away. And then the toe jammer thing, I don't remember what happened, but a building started to fall on top of me. Luckily, I was able to get out of the way just in time. But that was panicking. I got my leg trapped under a piece of debris, and I was struggling to get out as the toe jammer approached closer and closer. Its eyes were all in different directions as well. I don't even know if it was going for me or just for the crowds, but I was almost absorbed until a motorbike, a guy on a motorbike grabbed me and drove me away. Then they crashed. I really didn't expect much from the people of this world after that one guy ruined my burger, but that was just even worse, to be honest. And then they tried to talk to me, but someone else grabbed them, and then they ran off. So it was all very panicked when it happened. So I just started running with them, to be honest. And then I climbed up one of the ladders on the side of the building, thinking I could, glide away. But when I got to the top, I saw all the helicopters and planes fighting this thing. And then, a giant blue gooey tendril whacked one of the helicopters out of the air, and it was just, into itself in, a millisecond. Dissolved to ashes. It definitely looked like a toe jammer, and that's probably why I'm telling you this story, because these all look like monsters from my world. Now, next. Well, I don't actually remember what happened next. But I remember I woke up surrounded by a bunch of people in, mech armors. I don't remember. They were, regular clothes, but all mechanical and electrical and stuff. It was real weird, but then they said that they were a team called Mech. Yeah, I know, real original names. It was it stood for some multilingual, extra stupid, chili dog helicopter or something. I know, I made that up, but that's a pretty cool name if you ask me. And they all said that, and they said they were trying to fight the kaiju. And they were specifically fighting these ones because these were, like, some of the strongest, apparently, because they were created by, like, a bunch of colossal kaiju. Like, when I say colossal, they told me it was bigger than the Earth, which, honestly, I'm not that surprised by, because we do got colossals in my reality, and they're pretty big. But then, guess what? It happened again. A massive crystal bust through the wall, and I had to roll out of the way just in time. But when I looked down at my leg, it was still cut from before. So a bunch of people started shooting these laser pulse rifles at it. It looked like a massive tree, I'm gonna be honest. And then it just crushed the tower. Like, apparently we were in a tower. This reality went so quickly, I thought about just bailing, but I was just mesmerized by all the action. So this thing approached, let out a sonic burst from its mouth and sent me flying out of the building. That thing was going for the kill, because I don't think it even knew I could glide. But luckily I managed to reach the ground just in time, and saw this thing covered in crystals, looking angry, but also like it had been fighting another kaiju, sort of. I'm calling them kaiju because of Godzilla movies. They're pretty cool movies, if you ask me. And then this thing just kept throwing stuff in like a fit of rage. I don't even get it. And something about it tells me that this was made by humans, because it had like a ring through its nose. That one was also real weird, and I didn't expect that. But then I chucked up a bit of debris in front of me, and I sonic blasted it right back of a giant pig. It hit it, but it didn't seem to notice, as it was fighting off a bunch of planes and tanks and stuff. And I gotta say, the people in them tanks don't exist anymore. He flung that thing across the earth. Now, it was just crushing buildings, but then it started to retreat against a bunch of the helicopters. So I thought, good, they're getting rid of it. All the people are going to survive. And then I realized he was retreating towards me, and a bunch of his crystals were collapsing towards the ground, shattering the earth and cracking it. I almost fell into one of the cracks and fell down. Luckily, I was able to get out of the way and started running in the blind rip. I don't even know what to do. I was just panicking. Started running and gliding and running and rolling and gliding. Then luckily, I saw this thing just jump off like it was nothing. And the helicopters couldn't keep up with it because they were all crashed on the ground. It was really weird, but it was just about to get weirder, because I heard a roar from behind us, and suddenly, things smelled real bad. You see, this massive Godzilla ripoff, Kazillion Kaiju, was letting out like toxic fumes from its mouth. I saw someone pass out getting out one of the helicopters. Though that did explain my question of why the Trin Kaiju ran off. And then it just started attacking like that one did. Swung its tail and wiped out like three buildings at once. And it had these like, I don't know what to call it, this rocky, beautiful coral reef on its back. That also burst out all the gas. And then some of the gas was going up, and some of it fell towards the ground, almost choking me. I had to use my sound blast to just blast it away. So I just started running, to be honest. This thing had decimated the city to the ground. However, then another thing happened, where it roared and a giant sound wave again. That seems like one of the shared abilities of these. But with no helicopters, this thing was just free to destroy the city, I guess. Those chili dog people better get back to work. Like, they slacking. They're not doing enough to fight this thing. So I climbed up the ladder of one of the buildings, kind of cautiously, because this thing was destroying buildings per second. But I glided in, while this thing was angry, bursting beams of its gas, and I managed to sonic wave it right in the face. It almost fell over, but them tiny hands, it wouldn't have been able to save itself. It picked itself back up and tried to blast me out of the air, but I had already flew onto its back. And then I grabbed on and tried to break it off. But it was so weird because the gas started to feel sleepy. I don't remember much after that, but I remember I woke up on the ground, this thing about to crush me with its tail. So I rolled out of the way, I shrieked, its tail got blasted out of the way. It looked pretty injured from the last time though, so that was weird. Then when I did that, it just fell to the ground. It was weird, but I can't say I'm not glad it's dead. And then a giant robot appeared behind it. Thought I was going to have to put up a fight again, even though I didn't really put up much of one the other time. Then they said they were a part of mech, and they said they needed my help with taking out some more kaiju. Of course they did. They did a terrible job doing it themselves. So they took me on this, boat of a submarine. It's a boat with a dome on top. That reality was really weird. The dome was multicolored, beautiful like glass panes. And then it swam across, saying that they were hunting one of the most rare kaiju to ever exist. They don't even know how it got that way. It defied all laws of physics with its entire anatomy. This one looked like an epic pummel. I'm not lying. It just did. It had mouths inside its mouth like a creepy xenomorph. And overall, it was just weird. But then, as soon as we saw it flick its tail out of the water and show itself, it just ate a massive, cruiser ship. This thing was absolutely massive as well. It wasn't the size of that ship. That ship was the size of one of its teeth. So I didn't know we were going to fight it. But they said that apparently its mouth is a weak point. I mean, I kind of get that. If someone shot a missile into my mouth, I probably wouldn't be too happy about it. It was just swimming through the water too fast, though. So they shot a torpedo at its eye. Blood streamed through the water. And this thing, I could tell it was angry. Because it turned around and created a sort of whirlpool to pull us in. And then it tried to eat us. But luckily, the giant turbines turned on the back, and it just swam away. So it missed. But then its claws poked at us, and it also missed. So we were shaking around a lot, and everyone prepared to get their mech armors, because the boat was actually, leaking and stuff. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a mech armor. I was in here, out of my free will. Now, I don't know exactly how all this warrior net things work, but I decided then was a ripe time to leave. And then something about it, in the blue abyss of the warrior net, told me to go straight back. And it's kind of a good thing I did, because I teleported right on top of the beastly thing. I grabbed onto its hammerhead head as it was chewing up the submarine. People were fighting it in mechs, but I knew the weak point. I went down to its ear. I don't know, it was like gills, but it seemed to be hearing us through them. I sensed that, and so whilst I'm not the greatest at swimming, my suit gets pretty wet. I managed to crawl over there slowly. I almost drowned, but luckily my suit kind of let me breathe a little longer. I don't know what happened. That day was a mess. I shrieked into its gills. It let out a massive roar. And it activated my teleporter. I don't remember what happened. But I ended up outside of it. And this time, I wasn't dumb enough to go back in. That place is a mess. An absolute mess. So I was not going back in there. Maybe I will in the future, but that place is dangerous.